All right, welcome back everybody. Little bit of a different video. I am testing out a new camera. I'm going to see how that works out. Obviously the microphone's still tweaking those and seeing what works and what doesn't. Let me turn this heater off because last time I tried this I noticed we had some wind noise. Hopefully a little fluffy thing takes care of that too. So this video, just going to go over some stuff that showed up in the mail, some hardware stuff. Based on conversation with Chris, I'm going to show you guys the no-hole yoke that I use, as we both discussed in our aileron videos. And after seeing him go through and reorganize some of his stuff, I'm also going to show you guys how I organize my parts when you get them from vans, just in case it's helpful to anybody, or just explain my system and how I do it. So, just getting started, well, I want to thank Chris for coming by. I got home 2 days ago. Chris stopped by right before leaving town for his trip. He came over, we went over some stuff in here on my build and bounced a few more ideas off each other. Specifically, I was showing him the conduit and wiring setup on my wings. I think he's going to go with something similar. I'm currently in there 3D printing some stuff for him now to help him out with that. And yeah, it was a good visit. It was nice having him come over and put eyes on this. At some point, I need to get with the EAA chapter probably and get a tech counselor over here to give a look of my wings before I button them up. Just give me one final blessing. But back to this. So what came in the mail and what are we doing with this stuff? So hopefully you can see that. I got a whole bunch of little bags, all from Spruce, and what we got are various size 8L clamps so that I can button up the wiring in the wings, the loose wires where they come out of the conduit. Need to get secured, so I bought 8L clamps in different sizes to try out, see which ones are going to work best for which location. I bought some bolts and nuts to mount the 8L clamps. Unfortunately, I bought the wrong size little itty-bitty washers. Not sure how I did that. I got the right ones on order. I have plenty of spares right now, so I can still get started on that. So yeah, something else that came in the mail. Got this from Vans. This is the NACA vent inlet. Normally comes, I think, in the finishing kit. It's only $6 from Vans, so it's not that big of a deal to order it now. But the reason I ordered it now is this mounts to the lower wing skin. I think on the right wing there's an opening for it, and you have to create some rivet holes. I'll probably use some Pro Seal around it as well to get a nice good seal. But it was recommended on other websites, other builders logs, to go ahead and install this now. The plans I think don't have you do it until way later on during the finishing kit. But I'm pretty sure this is going to be a lot easier to do now with the skin off, and then all I got to do later on is put a screen over this to keep the bugs out and attach the tubing to it so that it's all done. One more thing that I need to be able to button up the wings, so that's good. On to the tool side of things. This is the no-hole yoke that I use. It is a 4-inch yoke, so it's got a really nice reach. I use this for most of my flush riveting around the edges of things when I can get to it. Compared to the one that Chris was using on his ailerons, this one has just a slightly narrower profile. This is from Clemson. All of my yokes are from them. Also who I got my C-frame from. Really nicely made. They're actually more affordable than most of the other choices. I like it a lot, but this was just thin enough that on the trailing edge of my aileron, that very last one, I was able to get this in there sort of at an angle. I think I pointed it out in the video, and then with my squeezer I can feather it, and as I was straightening it I was able to get it squeezed and straight at the same time. Definitely something that takes a little practice. It's a little scary to do, but it made it work really nice and it came out really nice, so happy about all of that. On to the organization side of things. So let's come over here. Let me point you up at these guys. There you go. Now you can see them. So I have all of these bins mounted to my pegboard, and they're just mounted, I don't know if you can see that or not, they're mounted with these little hangers. Again, I 3D printed. 3D printer is a great thing to have to make your own stuff. But when you get your parts from vans, all your little parts come in different bags, and they like to mix stuff together. So there might be a paper bag inside of this bag that's got 426 3-3.5 rivets in it, and then there'll be a separate bag in there that's got a whole bunch of 470 rivets in it. There might be a whole bunch of just miscellaneous washers in there. Some of them are 960-10s, some of them are 960-10Ls, which are thinner, and they're all just mixed together. The inventory tells you what's supposed to be in each of those bags, and I think they're sort of organized by component or part of the build, but that's not a very convenient way to have to go find stuff later on, because when you get to it on the plans will just tell you you need a 4-3 bolt and a 960 washer. You either have to remember what bag that was in or where the last bag was that had it, because most bags have multiples of these, or you do what we did, which is we separated everything by the actual component. So here you can see I've got rivets. Each one that I have a large amount of has its own dedicated bin, and then when it got down to the ones that I don't have that many of, we went ahead and just made a miscellaneous. So 426 83 dash whatever, this is my miscellaneous. And if you come in here, you'll see we've got individual bags in here that we labeled with the actual ones. So these are 3-6s, here's some 3-3s, 3-5s. So if I can't find it in my row that's already got its own bin, I know it's in the miscellaneous one, and it's in a bag in there that has a label. All these labels were made with this little tiny label maker from Amazon. Really cheap, the labels are cheap, and you print from your phone. It works really, really well. And then we just have a whole bunch of little baggies that we sorted everything by. Another example, bolts. When you go inside of it, the bolts are labeled in individual baggies, AN3-21As, AN3-4As, etc., etc. You get the idea. So if I know I need bolts per the plans, I can come grab this bin, and then I can just find the bolts that I need that are in there. Same thing with washers, nuts. Everything is separated by its components or parts. Much easier way to deal with it. It makes going to find this stuff a whole lot quicker later on. Let's go back up here. It makes finding it a lot quicker later on when you need to find individual parts for things. When I get the fuselage kit, hopefully, I don't know, next 6 to 8 months. If there's any interest in it, I'll video the actual inventory process of that one and how we sort it out and label it. I don't know if I'll need more bins or not. So far this has worked out. Everything you saw on here is everything I've needed for the wings and the empennage so far, and it's worked out really well. I haven't had too many of anything that didn't really fit in a bin. Anything excess I've bought, if I can fit it in there, I will. If it's not really part of the normal kit, like I bought stuff from McMaster, I keep that in just separate bins down below of extra hardware. And what else? I'm probably going to go post this here very soon. Like I said, I'm testing out this new camera. I want to see how this works for doing parts of the videos, tweaking the microphone. So you'll see this here pretty soon, and then I'm going to come right back out here and get started on the build again. I don't know what's next for me. There's some aileron stuff I need to deal with still. Maybe the push-pull tubes. There's a spacer that needs, or a aileron stop that needs to be fabricated. I might do that as far as mounting it goes. They're not going to stay permanently mounted. They need to come off and on a bunch of times for various reasons. I need to start on the flaps at some point. I've got those 8L clamps to deal with. I also have hardware to do ground studs. I don't know if I've showed you guys that yet or not. The aircraft maintenance circular talks about the proper procedure for doing ground studs throughout the airplane, and it really depends on the type of material you're putting the stud into and the type of material the ring lug is made out of that's going on the ground stud. You have a bolt, sometimes it's a cadmium washer, sometimes a lock washer, a lock nut. You might have an aluminum washer if it's butted up against aluminum. So I bought a whole miscellaneous assortment of all of that different hardware so I can do these ground studs. Because for the lights on the plane, on the left wing anyways, they're going to ground on the left side outboard part of the wing. For the right wing, they're going to do the same thing, but they're going to do it on the inboard side to keep anything away from a magnetometer that might be out in that edge of the wing. But I'll video all of that when it comes to it. Hopefully you found some of this useful, and it's time for me to get back to it. I will see you all on the next one.